This episode is made possible by NetSuite by Oracle and Brex, the AI-powered spend platform.
Hi, it's Jack, and we're bringing you a special on-location episode of CFO Thought Leader. We are this week attending IMA24, the annual America's Conference for the Institute of Management Accountants, the IMA. Held this year in San Antonio, Texas. It's only 98 degrees outside. As some of you may be aware, the IMA is a 105-year-old association that exists to serve the needs of finance and accounting professionals and career builders. Turn back the clock 12 months ago, and the IMA had only recently appointed Mike DePrisco as its new president and CEO. DePrisco stepped into the role with a fresh set of eyes and a long list of priorities. Joining Mike DePrisco just 6 months back was Diana Steinbach, the association's new Senior Vice President of Growth. There's little question, growth is top of mind for the IMA, and that begins with understanding the career demands and pain points being experienced by finance and accounting professionals. How can we help them along their learning journeys? That's the question Diana and Mike are asking. We have the opportunity to speak to both of them, and we think you'll find what they shared about the IMA and its future when it comes to serving its finance and accounting membership. Those interviews begin after this.
37,025-1. These are the three numbers to remember to get the visibility and control you need to make the right business decisions instantly. 37,000. That's the number of businesses which have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25. NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down expenses. 1. Because your business is one of a kind, you should get a customized solution for all of your KPIs in one efficient system and with one source of truth. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need, all in one place. Right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance, absolutely free, at netsuite.com/KPI. That's netsuite.com/KPI.
Hi, we're here with Mike DePrisco, President and CEO of the Institute of Management Accountants, the IMA, and we're here at the IMA Annual Conference, IMA24, in San Antonio, Texas. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you, Jack. Welcome.
So, Mike, who is attending this conference today?
Oh, well, we're very excited to be kicking it off here today in San Antonio. We have about 700 attendees. Mostly from all corners of the United States. We have some folks from outside of the U.S. as well. In terms of industry, you name it, it's represented. But the majority of our attendees come from industries like manufacturing, finance, technology, professional services, and so forth. And you see, in terms of where they sit within an organization, we have folks here who are junior and senior accountants, we have controllers, we have FP&A folks, and we have CFOs here as well. So it really runs the gamut in terms of the diversity of the types of accounting and financial roles out there.
IMA has a number of different certifications that these finance professionals turn to your association to help advance them in their careers, to help them develop skill sets and understand better how the world is changing. Is the value finance professionals attached to that certification and those programs changing? Is it evolving?
Yeah, it certainly is. I'll tell you, the CMA, the Certified Management Accountant certification, that's our flagship. We've had that since the early 70s. We have over 130,000 CMAs. We just introduced our newest certification called the FMAA, and that's foundational in nature, Financial and Managerial Accounting Associate. And that's really designed to provide a solution for individuals who are early in their career. Maybe they're in community college or undergrad and are looking for a certification to help them develop some skills and credibility as they step into a new job or first job. We're also seeing as more and more organizations hire people and train them on the job, they're looking for certifications like foundational FMAA to kind of level set on a degree of knowledge and acumen and terminology. So we're finding that certification to hit the mark there. But the CMA continues to be our flagship, gold standard, what I would call it, and we're seeing some really good growth around the world. But I do believe that certification in general is more and more becoming a currency, right, for individuals to show employers that they have more than just a college degree, or that they have demonstrated a level of experience or aptitude, knowledge that can help differentiate themselves and add value to their organization.
Now, we were speaking with you at this conference roughly a year ago. You had really only just arrived. Now, having closely observed them these past 12 months, these professionals, what have you learned about these professionals? Is there something that sets them apart?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and you're right. A year went by pretty quickly, and it's been a whirlwind, but it's been great. I've learned such a great deal about not only the organization but the profession, and talked to a lot of members, our volunteers, board directors, to really understand what are their motivations and career needs. Why do they seek out an organization like IMA for upskilling, reskilling, certification, those kinds of things. And what I found is that, this you can't treat individuals in a cookie cutter type of way, right? Every individual comes to IMA or comes to the table of professional development having experiences, education, knowledge that differ. They could be early in their career. They could be looking to make a career change. They could be seeking a new job. They could be seeking some recognition from their employer. They could be looking to network, right? So one of the things that I really learned, I think, through the first year was to understand what those unique needs and motivations are and start to think about how we can serve our members and future customers from the lens of something that's more personalized and customized to them versus trying to do a one-size-fits-all or cookie-cutter type of approach in how we develop products and services. So that's certainly one thing. The second, I would say, is the profession is moving at a rapid pace. As you know, it's evolving, it's changing. And organization leaders, as well as the practitioners in accounting and finance, are really eager and hungry for the latest and greatest knowledge, techniques, tools, resources to help them stay ahead of the curve, right? Because they're being asked, with technology and the rate in which it's being adopted and how it's changing the way they work, they're being asked to do things that they haven't done before. So I think IMA is in a unique position to understand what those needs are, right? And then support those organizations and practitioners in getting the knowledge and the competency they need to perform.
Something interesting about your background is your prior chapter as leader of the Project Management Association, and how financial competencies today are increasingly resembling project management competencies in respect to how financial competencies are now being spread across the organization, similar to project management skills. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we've seen that for sure. And, working with the board, we developed a new strategy and really took a step back and thought, what do we need to be thinking about long term to ensure the long term relevance, sustainability of the organization? Accounting and finance is our core. There's no question about it. But we think there's an opportunity to provide value to individuals in organizations who sit in sales areas or product areas or project management areas and who can really benefit from having the inherent knowledge and skills you find in accounting and finance so that they have credibility when they're sitting in team meetings, so that when they're doing their own assessments of their projects or the work or creating a new product or thinking about how to take it to market, they have an understanding of the ROI or how we're going to evaluate that, or how does that fit within the broader financial and performance goals we're trying to get to. So in that way, I truly do believe that it is the language of business. We talk about that a lot, but it truly cuts across all roles and functions within an organization.
It's let's argue the point that CFOs are often the champions of certification, particularly those in mid-sized companies that don't have the training resources that larger enterprise firms might have. Do you believe this to be true when it comes to the IMA, or is there another dynamic that you see as far as who are the champions of certification today?
I think it starts from the top, certainly within the C-suite, whether it's the CFO, the CEO, your chief human resource officer. I think there has to be a commitment from the top and a recognition that learning doesn't end with formal education. And if you have an organization and you're trying to move forward and you're trying to ensure that you're staying in front of some of the trends and challenges happening, you need individuals who are fully committed to ongoing professional development, continuous improvement. And certifications are really a great way in which you can help empower, encourage, and develop your team to gain that knowledge, skill, and acumen that you need to go forward. I do think, in addition to certification, though, the CFO can also be a champion of knowledge acquisition, right? So maybe not everyone has to have certification on your team. Maybe it's a certain percentage of people that have certifications, but certainly everyone should be engaged in some type of learning journey where they're continuing to stretch their knowledge, stretch their comfort zone, learn new things. I think the market that we're in, the rate of change, the rate of disruption is a mandate for individuals to invest in that continuous journey. And who better to influence it than the CFO, the C-suite? But I really believe it has to start from the top.
Can I ask about the foundational FMAA? Is that right? Is that the
Yeah, Financial and Managerial Accounting Associate. It's foundational fundamental certification.
So if I understand this correctly, from a strategic point of view, as you described it to us, so you're looking for those individuals at perhaps the community college level, people who came out of high school and are still trying to find what's my academic path here. Some of them might have had strong math skills or, were always good with numbers trying to find their way. This certification could help distinguish them at that time in their lives when they're trying to establish credibility in a certain realm. Whereas in the past, there was nothing really there.
There was nothing, that's right.
There was nothing there. There's no feather they could put in their cap that would make an employer even think of bringing them into an internship program. Now there's something there. And so at the very ground floor, and again, these are individuals who are often maybe challenged economically,
Could be.
or they might be working already, a job that's
doesn't take a college degree to get, and they're just trying to find traction into corporate America in some way. How am I doing? Am I close?
Oh, you're doing really well. I mean, I think that was exactly our thinking stepping into it. We came to the recognition that there was a lot of interest in the CMA, but the CMA wasn't for everyone. They weren't ready for it, right? It was too much of a stretch. And we also wanted to create a certification that removes some of the traditional barriers of entry, a college degree being one of them, cost being another. And based on the individual circumstances, they may not need something like the CMA, right? They could be in a situation where the organization that's invested in them doesn't require a degree, but values that continuity among their team in terms of understanding the basic language of business of accounting and finance. This certification can help that. Community colleges have talked to us about embedding the FMAA curriculum into their program, so it's almost like a capstone program, right? Community colleges, I think, see the opportunity of, and necessity of preparing their students to enter the job force. So we see this as a very good opportunity to align with the goals and aspirations of community colleges. The last thing I'll say, it could be a stepping stone. So we're seeing some very good traction with FMAA, not only in the U.S., but also in the Middle East. And what we're hearing is that, hey, it's a nice stepping stone toward maybe, eventually the CMA or something else. And it's a way, I think you described it well, get a feather in your cap, start to demonstrate some degree of knowledge, acumen, credibility.
Yeah. And for the finance leaders out there as well who want to access this sort of first layer of talent that exists out there, whether it's saying, hey, we'd love to have you in our summer internship program, or no, we actually have opportunities. If they're promising people, we'd be interested. Is that a role you folks would play?
Yeah. In fact, we've seen actually some really good success in India, in the market in India, where we partner with a number of organizations like Hewlett-Packard and others, where we create and partner where these individuals take the FMAA or the CMA and they're put into an internship program, right? And that strengthens the value proposition of certification. It also ensures for the organization they have a ready pool of people that they can hire full-time when the internship's done. So these are some of the things that we explore with organizations and will continue to explore through our partnerships and our advocacy work.
For the CMA candidates, graduates, let's say, certified CMA, what's the next step? And again, I know there's a strategy certification as well. Forgive me for not knowing the acronym.
Yeah, CSEA.
Is that traditionally where those graduates go, or what would you?
No, I don't think it's a natural next step. I think we've quite frankly struggled a little bit with getting traction on that, and I think it's because I don't think a lot of people know about it. I think it's an excellent certification, by the way, because it very much provides an individual with an understanding of how to help your organization not only develop and design a strategy, but execute it, and all the various piece parts that go into that. And I think anyone in accounting and finance would be perfectly suitable for something like that, but it hasn't gotten the traction. So we're looking at ways in which we can better market it, better promote it, make sure the content in that exam fits what an organization wants. But I think between the CMA and whatever's next, what we're trying to do is create more what we call digital stackable credentials, right? So maybe it's short certificate programs on a specific area, cybersecurity. Maybe it's something in the area of AI. Maybe it's something in the area of FP&A. So once you have the CMA and you graduate it, maybe now you're starting to look at ways, things that you want to specialize in. So that's where we're looking to play specifically, because maybe once you get the CMA, you might not be interested in making another big commitment and another big certification, but you understand small micro credentials, programs that can be done over a weekend, that are more cost affordable, that accommodate the fact that you're a busy professional. They're the kinds of things that we're making available.
Well, if I'm a CMA and my organization is rather conservative when it comes to innovation or changing policies. Your AI track might be interesting, just so I know I stay in step with my colleagues in other organizations, perhaps. Or our organization is interested in exploring multiple AI possibilities as to whether it's incorporating it into finance in some way or how our own offerings are going to enjoy a competitive advantage as we incorporate AI. And how am I doing? Is that why they would come to the AI?
Yeah, I think so. There's not a conversation that I've had with an organization leader or a practitioner where one of their top three concerns, AI, is either one or two. The other two are related to sustainability, and then the third is related to people, finding and attracting and retaining people. But AI is certainly there. I think it is an area within the business that has the potential to be impacted in a number of productive ways, to streamline work, to free up individuals to perform more of the strategic knowledge work that machines can't do thus far. We have a whole day at the conference dedicated to AI because of the demand that we're getting from our members for more information about not only, I think people understand that AI is here and it's a powerful tool to help us do work better. But when we talk about the how, the practical implication of how do I make it work? What skills do I need to have? Give me some use cases that shows me how organizations are being successful with implementing it. That's what we're trying to do and what we're aiming to do with our carve-out day on AI on Wednesday of this week.
Sounds interesting. Well, we've been speaking with Mike DePrisco at the IMA24 conference. Before we go, let's ask you about your priorities for the coming 12 months when it comes to leading the IMA. What would those be?
Well, there's a lot of them, but I'll give you the top three. One is the member and making sure that we understand their needs and we're delivering value to them so that they see IMA as their go-to place moving forward. Second is geographic expansion. We are looking to move into a new market, Japan, as a matter of fact, because we're very excited about the opportunity of bringing the IMA narrative and story around the world. And last but not least, we're focused on, ensuring that our community of partners, academic institutions, the organizations that we work with, we're talking to them and delivering them the value they need to help their organizations perform at an optimal level. So that's where we're focused right now.
Mike DePrisco, thank you for making time for us here at IMA24. Hello, we're speaking with Diana Steinbach, SVP of Growth for the IMA, and we're here at IMA 24 in San Antonio. Diana, welcome.
Thank you, Jack. Great to be here.
What have you discovered about the IMA that's maybe surprised you?
I don't know. I guess some of our members would say that you never should be surprised in strategic accounting and finance. But I would say I've been pleased to discover a number of things. And one is, in the short time that I've been here, I've already been able to travel to multiple regions of the world and also to meet some of our members in different parts of the U.S. And there's a commonality across geographies and types of companies that financial professionals are working in. Everyone is being asked to get from a point A to a point B. And maybe that point A and point B might be different. It might be around technology. It might be around strategic shifts in their organization. But all of these teams are trying to become what they need to be the essential business partners in their organization. And so what's great is when you have that kind of commonality across the profession in different parts of the world, then that means that you can learn from each other, that we can make sure that we have the right resources to help people. And it's an exciting time to be in this profession, really.
Yeah. You quickly mentioned that you've been doing some traveling. Is the opportunity for growth here at the IMA overseas?
We definitely have a lot of growth both domestically and internationally. We've always had a strong focus in other parts of the world outside of the Americas, and that continues to be the same in places like China. India is very fast growing. We are going to be launching more strategically into Japan as our next focus for geographic growth. So that's exciting.
Why Japan?
So Japan actually has quite a need for FP&A. And so they're searching for those resources. And what I say sometimes in the world of membership organizations is you can sometimes have sort of accidental members where you haven't put staff on the ground, you haven't done a lot to really drive into an area. Maybe you didn't think that you were going to have much value there or that they would be wanting you there. But then you start to see the masses grow, and we have quite a large chapter in Japan already. And we have a lot of people who are finding that our CMA certification is a bit more applicable than maybe some of the CPA type of certifications that they traditionally would have gravitated toward. And so we've actually had a lot of people asking us to come there, and we've put together a more meaningful, purposeful assessment to make sure that when we go to a new place that it makes the most sense and it can be sustainable. And when we did that, it validated what we were hearing from the members in Japan. So that's going to be a focus for 2025.
Very interesting. Where does it begin? I mean, what is that, like a milestone for you down the road? Okay, here's what we'd like to accomplish. What's the first milestone? If you were to look forward 18 months perhaps, what would please you about your progress in Japan?
So I think what would really please me is if we were able to have that brand recognition, because right now maybe the word choice that we use in other parts of the world doesn't quite resonate, but we know that the substance behind what we do resonates with what they're looking for in their businesses. So if we can start to see them making that connection and saying, oh, okay, now I understand that this is what you do and that's actually what I need, then that will make a move. We are going to be bringing on some new training providers, so that's going to be exciting, and so we'll probably see an uptick in our certifications. But we're much more than certifications now, and so we're going to be looking at how they're digesting some of the other resources that we offer as well.
Are these members likely to be part of multinationals, or are they these are Japan companies?
It really can be a mix. There are a number of multinational companies that have some sort of a headquarters or a regional office in Japan, and so that does make it easier when you're speaking that global language of business when it comes to finance. And then it also helps us resonate with them because they may be familiar with what we are doing in other parts of the world. But we are seeing that there are some people who are local Japanese and they're saying, this is what I need. And if it takes getting it from an American organization or American-based organization, that's what I want.
We were just speaking with Mike DePrisco about the new FMAA certification. And would that intersect your world in terms of new growth and how that might be promising in terms of future growth?
Yes, no, it's quite new. We've had our first batch of exam takers, and they've done quite well, which is very good to hear. It's a very exciting thing because I like to say that, a lot of people talk about a career ladder, right? And in the past, IMA had a rung on the career ladder, and that was CMA for the management accounting side.
And describe that for us. These are professionals well seasoned already that are looking to become more strategic perhaps, or have a stripe on their sleeve. But they're pretty far along professionally relative to what this new foundational
Well, it really depends. We do have university students who will go through CMA as a way to really kind of put that extra notch on their belt as they're going into the workforce, or if they've really discovered through their professors or some other angle that there is more out there than working for a big firm in the tax and auditing side, that there's such a huge majority of people in the world they want to go into that are working inside of companies. And I think we're always trying to work against that stereotype and try to let people know there is a name for what you do and there's a community that can help you know how to do it. But you're right, there are a lot of professionals that go into the certified management accountant designation once they're at a certain point. What's great about FMAA is that this gives people who do not have a bachelor's degree the opportunity to get a designation. So I've spoken with people in community colleges, and you have such a diverse group of students who are coming from other countries and having to rebuild their career, or they're people who really have to kind of scrape the pennies together to afford their degree or their education, and they can't afford a four-year school, and they worry that they won't be competitive in the marketplace against people who have a four-year degree. And now they're able to see, okay, I can get my, fundamentals 1 and 2 class under my belt. I can go take this exam, which is cost effective and a bit easier for my level, fundamental. And then I can go straight into a temp agency, for instance, and say, hey, look at what I have. I have the basics and the foundation of financial and management accounting. Can I get a different type of job? And then they can help fund their education while they're doing it. We're also seeing there's a lot of non-traditional people coming into financial roles, people from operations, engineering, manufacturing, IT, and they may not have that financial vocabulary, but they're sitting at the table with peers and they need to be able to speak that language. And so we're actually finding that corporations and companies are saying, hey, this could be really good for someone who's actually kind of so senior, they don't want to put a lot of time into what it might take for a more intensive certification, but this would give them that shot in the arm to be able to say, okay, now I feel confident to speak with my peers or to be financially literate. So what we're finding is there's a lot of different legs to this and different angles, which is really exciting.
It's interesting. We always speak with finance leaders about how challenging it can be to collaborate across the organization with different functional heads and groups. And the notion is frequently that finance needs to be the translator. Well, maybe other parts of the organization could learn to speak finance via other certifications.
Well, and so what you're speaking to, another thing that that we've been talking a lot about lately at IMA is the concept of like a skills lattice. So you talk about the career ladder, and it seems very one-dimensional and one-directional. But when you're talking about the reality of organizations, whether it's in the financial part of the organization or it's in these other operational areas that need to be financially savvy, you're really talking about these smaller steps they have to make that can go kind of like a ping pong bounces around, right? So we talk about growing up that trellis. In fact, I've kind of appropriated that term from a new partner of ours who runs Achieve Next and the CFO Alliance. And they talk about that lattice where you really can take different levels. So it might be certification, it might be a course, it might be a micro-credential. And really it gets back to what I was saying earlier, where you've got a team and their leadership that need to go from point A to point B. Sometimes they can't even articulate where point B is. They just know they have to do something. And then they may not know how to get there. And so what we're working with this new partner on is the ability to try to help the financial leaders, but also their teams kind of build that skills pathway. And it might be different for different people in your team. So you might need to really heat map your team. And really at the larger organizational level, there may need to be skill pathways for some of these other people that you're talking about that aren't in the traditional financial or accounting area, but really need to have some of these skill sets. And they're all interacting, aren't they? So they really need to be able to have a similar language that they can speak with each other to accomplish what their leadership or their stockholders or whatever are asking them to do.
Looking at the membership, and let's just think about the professionals who are more advanced in their careers and the opportunities IMA can offer them or bring to them in terms of continuing the knowledge journey, I suppose. and maybe this is where you were just touching upon this, but the idea is to create more specialized avenues of knowledge for those people, for those members, whether it's cybersecurity or what have you. It could be where you create new avenues of growth, or give them a menu that'll allow them to pick and choose because their organization might be different from others.
Absolutely. It's what's really exciting right now at IMA is we're 105 years old, and we have been an organization for individuals, which has been powerful. It's helped individuals. I've talked to many of our members in the short time I've been here who've said, I've been a member since I was on a college campus and now they're retired, and so we've had people that have really grown in their careers, but in the past, sometimes maybe they had to find other places to get those resources at different points in their career. And what we're really trying to do, which is our winning aspiration, is to be that source of empowerment for people where they are at in their careers or in their teams. And so what's very exciting is that we're going to be launching a corporate membership. And so that's going to be coming on board in July of this year, in 2024. And that's going to allow teams to join IMA. And that will give access, because a lot of people knew us as the certification. And that's just one rung on the career ladder, right? Or one piece of the trellis. And there's so much more that you need to be a well-rounded professional these days. And so this will allow teams to be able to pick and choose, like, okay, one team member maybe could use a certification. Maybe it's the FMAA because they're just getting started. Maybe it's somebody who's at a different level and they really need something, like you said, that gets into the data and the technology and analysis side. And then somebody else may need to learn about storytelling or how to be a good listener to the other departments so they can problem solve with them. And they might not be on a leadership track. They might just be middle of the pack, but they're working with other people middle of the pack, and they need those skills to be able to interact with each other.
So here, a finance leader could say, okay, we should do this. I have 5 people in mind who I know could take advantage of a number of these programs. In a way, they could participate together at the same time. So it's kind of a team building experience as well, or no? Is it
yeah, sure. It really, what we're really trying to do is make it, again, be where the team is at and help them with what they need. So they may have a certain initiative they're going through, and they would be able to access the same type of knowledge or course for every staff member. Maybe they would do a lunch and learn. Maybe they would review that and they would do a follow-up or something like that. Or they could say, okay, we're going to do, reviews with each of my staff members, and this person really needs this skill set and this person needs that. They'll be able to mix and match on the individual level if they needed. So depending on their size, if they're a smaller team, they can literally mix and match what they want and assign it to their staff. Or they can say, okay, I'm going to get this this kind of subscription to a library, and then you can go in there and you can decide what you need for maybe your credits for your credential, or for what you need because of what you personally want to evolve with next. So it's a really exciting opportunity for teams.
We've been talking about how the IMA is evolving. I want to just touch on its history with you. You just mentioned 105 years. What part of IMA's historic story do you feel, and I know you haven't been here all that long, but what's relevant about it today, this old association?
Yeah, I would say connections are still relevant. You join an organization because you're looking for a community. It's a family. It's a family you choose, not one you're born into, right? And it's people who can understand what you're dealing with in your day job, and so that allows people to really connect. And so that is an underlying current of any kind of an organization like ours. And so there's, of course, that educational need, and we're developing premier education to be able to help people evolve, but we're also evolving the way you can connect with peers. So we'll be starting some interest groups, and they're going to be sort of a way to kind of virtually connect with people, not just members, but also maybe experts in that area who are non-members, to be able to kind of interact when you want to about that topic. And that covers things like DE&I initiatives, because people are trying to figure out, what do I need to be doing there? It's small business topics and sustainability, trying to figure out how are we going to deal with pulling this through the organization, or how do we use our accounting principles to apply to reporting on this new area of sustainability efforts. So that's a new way that we're going to be leveraging our long-standing value point that everybody wants.
Diana Steinbach, thank you for making time for us at IMA24.
Well, I appreciate it, Jack. Thanks a lot.
Hello, listeners. As you may know, we recently passed the 1,000 episode milestone, and the fact is, we've published well over 1,000 episodes over the years, but we only prescribe a number to episodes featuring CFOs, because we know this is truly what has distinguished us over time. We're a platform dedicated to the people who actually occupy the CFO office. And to you, our listeners, who are very often seeking to better understand the roots of finance leadership. Well, it's with this in mind that we're pleased to announce the release of our new book titled The CFO 500, where we have profiled 500 of the more than 1,000 CFOs that have participated with us over the years. And you remember Siskel and Ebert, the movie guide? Leonard Moulton had his movie guide as well. Well, that's sort of the concept of what's inspired this volume, the CFO 500. Think of it as a reference volume where you can quickly thumb through the 500 one-page CFO profiles and cherry pick out the interviews that matter to you. How so? Well, each CFO page profile includes an individual QR code that allows you to instantly access the audio interview with the CFO that most intrigues you. Or maybe it's a particular industry. Just like that movie guide you used to reach to on a day when nothing much was going on, here's a way to quickly reference the interviews that matter most to you. The CFO 500 is now available for $29.95 and can only be purchased via CFOThoughtLeader.com. So visit us at CFOThoughtLeader.com. Thank you.